Hello to everyone listening and watching us around the world, and welcome. This week is a very special week because tomorrow is International Women's Day, which is the 1st of March 2022. And to celebrate the day, IMA will be interviewing various women throughout the week, all who have amazing and inspiring stories to tell us about their work, their passions, and their life. And this week, we will be starting off the interview by interviewing Leigh Dowsett, who is the lead consultant and research manager for IMA. Leigh has a Master's of Science in Anthropology, Environment and Development, as well as a first-class degree in anthropology. And her area of interest is in common property resource use and environmental sustainability, with a particular focus on perceptions of interrelationships between humans and the environment. Leigh has over 10 years of experience in the agricultural sector and has been involved in many small-scale sustainable agricultural projects. So thank you, Leigh, so much for taking the time out to join us today.
Welcome. Hi.
Hi. One of our first questions are, what are the 3 things that inspire you every day?
3 things that inspire me every day. Well, other women, I think I'm going to have to put in that. So yay for Women's International Women's Day. I think 3 things really, people that I work with, and I don't just mean women, I mean the men as well, because I've met some fantastic men and women doing amazing work around the world. And I don't just work with a great team, getting to meet people and the work that they do. Even during COVID, when we've been running our online sessions, I think it really inspires me what they do, the work and the passion and the enthusiasm that people put into trying to make the world a better place all around for everybody. And I find that really, really inspiring. And I'm really lucky to be able to meet people. I'm an anthropologist. I love learning about people. I love learning from people, and I love learning with people. So I kind of ended up quite luckily in the right environment.
Yeah.
Another thing that inspires me every day is karate. I do martial arts. I do a style of martial arts called Rowan. I'm not going to try and pronounce it on this video, actually, in case I get it wrong. But it's a specific style of karate. And I find that martial arts practice really encourages you to be the best that you can all of the time in everything. And obviously we all have off days sometimes, but taking that moment every day to do a little bit of karate practice, it isn't just good for your body physically, but I find it's really good for my emotional state. I find it's really good for my mind, and I find it really inspiring. And again, the people in my martial arts group, they also inspire me. We inspire each other. There's people in their 80s still doing karate, and I find that inspirational. There's women in their 80s still doing karate who are still really good, and that's really inspiring. And I think we all need heroes, and we all need people to look up to. So that's another thing that I find is really important and inspires me every day. Another thing, I say it's such a cliche, but it's nature.
Okay.
It's just, nature's amazing. I'm fortunate I live near a really big river valley, and my family are from the mountains, so I get to spend time in the mountains. I grew up near a big forest, near London, actually, Epping Forest. And I just find nature really inspiring. And I find when you're out in nature, it really can make you pause and reflect and forget your everyday challenges and issues sometimes, especially when you're somewhere spectacular like mountains. I think they can make you seem really small and not unimportant, that's the wrong word. But they can just, well, they inspire me, basically. Yeah. I'm grateful to be able to see that and be part of it. And it's always changing. Where I'm here now, you know, it's been a few big storms. We've had winter, and now there's flowers popping up. And I just love nature. I like exploring it. I like being part of it. And that definitely inspires me every day. That's quite a cliched one, I think, like seeing the sea. Who can't get inspired by hearing waves crash on a sea? or a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset.
No, but I definitely agree. I think, especially for me, growing up in London, I very much like underestimated how much your like environment in terms of nature can impact you. And then moving to Brighton, where it's literally you're always surrounded by so much greenery and you're surrounded by the fields. So it's definitely something that I resonate a lot with you when you say like how inspiring nature can be. And it's just it just clears your mind. It is definitely like an inspiring thing for sure. So I definitely agree with you on that.
Thanks. And I think that that COVID pandemic, when we're on a proper lockdown, I think that it opened up a lot of people's eyes to how important access to nature and access to the countryside is. And I found where I am, it's quite quiet, and suddenly it was flooded with people, and that's great. If we can all learn to appreciate nature, perhaps we can work harder and better to preserve and save and work with what we've got, we've got left. And also perhaps that understanding of how important nature can be to people can really help with people's mental health and inequality and access to nature and all those sorts of things. I think it raises so many big questions, this discussion that we're having.
It does, definitely. Moving on to our second question, tell me about your work with IMA.
Okay, so I'm briefly going to talk about some of the stuff that I do, but only very briefly, because this is about women and not IMA. But I am really lucky to have work with a place that I really do cherish, because I love learning, I love working with people. I met so many great people through IMA International, doing a mixture of training and consultancy work. And I love the fact that it's always different. That really suits my personality and my mind. I quite like an oversight of lots of different things, and you get to do that at IMA. I find that really exciting. And I feed off of the energy that other people give me, both within the team that I work with and both with the people that I get to meet. Hopefully when we come face to face again, but it's been the same online. So I do a mixture of consultancy work and the open course trainings or tailor-made trainings. But I'm also going to talk a little bit about the other work that I do. I do some various voluntary things. I work volunteering at the minute with Made 51, which is an amazing innovative project with UNHCR, where refugees globally make products that are then sold, really good high quality products that are then sold. And it's all about community cohesion and providing income. And I love doing that. That's amazing. And I'm a trustee of a charity called Swarm Dynamics. I started working with Swarm Dynamics when I met David Hollyoake, who is the founder. And the premise of it is bringing it back to your first question when we started talking about nature. It's all about how can we create a fairer, better, sustainable future. How do we do that? And if we don't know where we're going as a species, how are we going to get there? When you look at a lot of science fiction from the past, for example, things that were fiction became a reality. And I'm not saying that anything you make up in your mind can become a reality, but you need to have something to work towards. Otherwise, you're not going to get there. And quite a lot of future-based visioning in the arts world, it's all quite dystopic. It's all quite, Armageddon-y. You've got all these films, and it never ends well. And we want to be more positive than that. We want to bring artists together and think about what a positive future looks like. And I really, really love doing that work, because it can keep you positive in a world that is a challenge, and that can feel really overwhelming sometimes. It's nice to vision what we can make happen. As one example, we did some work with the STEP Centre at Sussex University and Brighton University of Arts, and we got some funding from the Arts Council, and one of the concepts the students came up with was Museum of the Future. So in our friendly, environmentally sustainable world, what would be in a museum? Things like plastics, disposable plastics would be in a museum, and they made a virtual reality museum of what we would look back on in a few hundred years' time and go, what were they thinking? And what's really great about that is that some of that's actually becoming real, because now we're looking at disposable plastics and going, what were we thinking?
Yeah.
And phasing that out. And that's really great. It's really great to focus on those positive changes. Definitely. So that's some of the extra work that I do.
Yeah, that's amazing. No, and it's very interesting to see, especially for myself. There are lots of people now who are very much in tune with like being environmentally more sustainable, and even on Instagram there are so many younger people who are so passionate about it, and it's great to see that it's kind of filtered down through so many different generations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember when I was in school, I forget that I'm getting older now. You know, thanks. How things have changed now. I think you're right, and it's really nice now seeing younger generations. In truth, I'm not part of the younger generations now. I'm really not, but it's really nice to see how normalized it's becoming. Like you say, when I was in my early 20s, we did various things towards promoting environmental consciousness, but it seemed quite lacking. And I think you're right, it's becoming a lot more normalized now, and that gives us more hope.
Definitely. And moving on to our last question, what is one thing that you are most grateful for?
I find that a really hard question to answer, because I don't know if there is any one thing that I'm grateful for, and I also think that probably changes over time. This week I'm really grateful that my martial arts classes are face-to-face again. That's this week. Last week I think I'd seen some friends. I was really grateful for my friends, and I guess I can't answer that question in any other way but with a cliche of I'm just grateful to be here. And I really am. It's a messy, difficult, challenging, complex, beautiful, stunning, exciting planet that we're on, and we're here. We're lucky to be here, and I am grateful for that, but it's quite a cliche to say that, but it's true. I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Leigh, for joining us today and for taking the time out to talk with us. You're very welcome. I hope I didn't go on too many tangents. You didn't. Don't worry. Thank you. Thanks, Lauren.